We know in Judaism there's a tradition that even at our times of greatest joy, even at our times of greatest jubilation, we always need to stop and pause and remember that there is still brokenness in the world, still imperfection in the world. Many of you are probably familiar with the custom at a wedding, a Jewish wedding. Presumably the most joyous moment of the bride or groom's young life. And yet at the end of that ceremony, we break a glass. Why do we break a glass? Because we want to remember to acknowledge that even though we may be experiencing our own personal simcha, our own personal joy, our day of happiness, but the world is still in a state of imperfection. From a Jewish perspective, the temple in Jerusalem has not been rebuilt. There is no world peace and harmony. As our tradition teaches us, one day there will be. And the message is clear, that even when we're enjoying ourselves, when we're taking part in a celebration, we need to be willing to stop and be mindful of the imperfections that still require our efforts, our work to repair in a fractured world. Of course, today we know is 9/11, the 15th anniversary of 9/11. And here in MEOR, like anywhere around the world, certainly around the country, it's important for us to stop and remember that cataclysmic, terrible day. But the truth is we also have a more personal connection to that very, very painful moment in time. And we're going to share that in a minute. But first we want to begin with a rendition of the Star Spangled Banner, our national anthem, as well as the Hatikva. We're joined by Daniel Eisenberg.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Oh, Lord, balevav penima nefesh Yehudi homia utfate mizrach kadima Ein Letzion Sophia Od lofta tikvatenu Atikva בת שנות 2000 ליותם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון ירושלים ליותם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון ירושלים.
Thank you, Daniel. As I mentioned, we have here at MEOR not just a global connection to the tragic events of 9/11, but a very, very personal one. Many of you may know that exactly 15 years ago, DJ, our very own DJ, suffered a very personal loss with the death of her brother-in-law, Mark Rosenberg, Alav Shalom, in the Twin Towers. And we're honored that DJ is going to share a few words about Mark and about the inspiration that he's been in leading her to this work that she does today, and really inspiring all of us. DJ.
Thank you. Most people know that I try to avoid speaking in public as much as possible, but I really felt when the opportunity was presented to speak about Mark on such a special day, I really couldn't pass it up. On September 11th, 2001, I was a junior in college in Manhattan, and I was getting ready for class. I was listening to the radio, trying to figure out what to wear that day, and the broadcast was interrupted that a plane had hit the World Trade Center. So immediately I thought of my brother-in-law Mark, who had started working there a few months before, and he'd been so proud when he got the job there, and he said, "Oh, if you go on your roof and hold up a flag, call me, let's see if we can figure out if we can see you." And so this is like pre-everyone having cell phones and texting, so I called my sister, she didn't answer, I called my father, and he said, "We don't know anything, we haven't heard from him." And I wasn't really worried. It wasn't until a few days later that I had finally understood what had happened. I really was sure that Mark was fine. To me, he had always been this invincible, larger-than-life person. The first time I met him, I was 14. I was on a youth program for the weekend, and one of my sister's friends pointed him out. She goes, "Oh, that's Mark, your sister really likes him." I was like, "Oh, what's he up to?" And I watched him the whole weekend, and he was fun, and he was always surrounded by a pack of kids, always gesturing with his hands to make a point. And as he and my sister started dating, I got to know him a lot better. I saw how much he loved his family. I had a first glance at his infinite patience as he tried to help me with my math. And he's the one who really first got me involved in the youth work that I do. And subsequently, every single job I've had since then has been a direct result of volunteering with that program. Most importantly, he connected me to the amazing job and team that I'm so blessed to have here in MEOR. There's not a memory I have of my family from my teenage years that does not involve him. When my father got sick for the first time, it was Mark who drove us to the hospital, and it was Mark who drove in every weekend so we would not be by ourselves. He was an amazing big brother. We all went to Paris together, and he convinced me to walk around Versailles with him instead of taking the tram for 6 miles. He stuck up for me whenever I fought with my sister. He taught me how to figure out exponents using a card trick. It's kind of iffy still. And he helped me move into my dorm every single year so my father wouldn't have to carry heavy boxes. And really, when we kind of put this together a couple years ago, everyone loves running, everyone's into fitness, 5Ks are really popular. But Mark was really into fitness, and he used to bike every Sunday morning from his home in Teaneck to Central Park and back, and he loved running, and he was kind and funny and loving and patient, and I can't think of a better way to honor him and say thank you to him than to dedicate today in his memory. Thank you.
Thank you, DJ. Of course, as we mentioned, we have a personal connection, but as we think about the tragedy of a day like 9/11, it's also equally important, perhaps more important, that we recognize those who fight every single day, who work every single day tirelessly to ensure that events like that never happen, and if they do, God forbid, happen, that we have a support system, that there are people there literally ready and willing to risk their own lives to save the lives of others. And of course, it doesn't have to be only in some kind of dramatic terror attack that we should never know of, never see again. But just day to day, we know that there are so many things that go on, certainly right around here in College Park, issues that have to be dealt with, crime, and other kinds of problems that exist throughout the world and certainly in our own little community here. And we would be remiss if we didn't show our proper hakarat hatov, our proper gratitude, our true deep recognition, appreciation for those heroes, those men and women who are literally protecting our lives and our safety right here in this community. And we've asked a number of those wonderful first responders to join us. Can you please join us on dais, please? Here we go. Officer Raybold and Durai and a number of wonderful firefighters from our local fire company. Just a small token of our appreciation. We have a small plaque to present to each of you, each department at least. It reads as follows. In recognition of the local heroes who protect our neighborhoods and aid their fellows in their time of need, and in honor of those who have fallen in service of this higher calling, may God bless and protect you in your holy mission. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. One more round of applause for our first responders. Okay, everyone, thank you so much. We appreciate your diversion from the festivities. At the end of the wedding, as we know, the glass is smashed. And what do we do immediately? Everyone screams out, Mazel Tov. We return to the festivities. We recognize we can't live in a constant state of pain and longing, although we must recognize these things and must appreciate them. We also have to return to the normal celebration of life as God has blessed us with. And in that spirit, we return to our wonderful barbecue. Thank you all for joining us. Please continue to eat, continue to enjoy yourselves on this lovely afternoon.